Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here, and welcome to my review for the Hasbro Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Auto Morphin figures. So this is kind of a weird release. I'm not sure exactly what they're going for with it, but they're sort of inspired by and updates of the original Auto Morphin figures from the Bandai line from way back when, which is just kind of strange that they're trying so hard to emulate something from Bandai. I mean, I guess essentially they're doing that every time they make a different toy, but this was just so specific and strange. So I want to call out that from the packaging. And this first wave is these three plus Kimberly, but I could not find Kimberly for some reason, but you'll see her on the back of the packaging. I'm not sure why they didn't just go for the one more and have all five come out at once, but my theory is that if they do a wave 2, it will either be a couple of these alongside yellow and green, or a second wave that'll be like yellow, green, and white. But anyway, you can see her on the back of the box. Kimberly's there, so that's what comes with this wave, and you can sort of see how she looks in general. And you can see that it emulates the old style packaging, and you can see that the weapons combine. I won't be able to show that off fully without Kimberly's weapon, but you can see it has that same gimmick and whatnot. And then in the front of the packaging here, you can see emulates the original style. So they're even using the old Bandai style packaging, and it's just weird because obviously this was Bandai's thing, but then Bandai also re-released them during the Legacy wave, so I don't know. It's just kind of strange, but let's talk about them. Let's do them one at a time. So I thought he was gonna fall over. I was waiting for it. So here's Jason. So these are really weird figures because they're updates, but they're also simultaneously trying to be the old ones. I'll show sort of a comparison of what the old one looked like in general right here. I'll put a picture up on the side, but I also do have, the only one I could find for whatever reason for my collection is the old shiny ones. Obviously this one's not shiny and it doesn't have the ape coin on it like that, but you can see sort of the differences in the mold. Like they're clearly trying to emulate it, but these end up being more blocky, and the helmets are a little bit different. Honestly, this helmet looks less accurate because it has like a really big protruding nose tail looking thing here, which is just kind of strange. But you do have the differences of you don't have the coin there. All of the old ones did have the coin there. This button here is not how you flip them, because in the old school one you change the automorph by this, and this one you use the legs, but this is just clearly painted on. I'll get a closer up look of that, but you can sort of see how the mold changes. So it's like they tried to update it but also make it different at the same time. And then articulation wise, it's almost the same, except the only real difference is that you do have some swiveling here, and the legs can move out here. These legs could not move, but the arms are virtually the same, but this one has swiveling, this one doesn't. This one you can move the legs out, and then the only other difference is that they have a better time at keeping the arms at attention. Like these are always kind of bowed out, but they can actually go further in, so that's kind of the major difference there. And just before I get farther into it, I want to just compare it to other couple Automorphin molds. So this is the Zeo one. This one kind of reminds me more of the Zeo Turbo ones in terms of stature, where it's got this really bulky chest and then a tiny head. So I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison there. And then this one has the flip in the back, you know, like this. And that is another difference, is with these, they only flipped the one way. Looking good, Rocky. So you could flip it, but you couldn't flip it back, and that was the same way for all the mmpr ones. But this one you could continuously flip, same with turbos. And this one you can also flip both ways, which I'll show in a second. And here it is next to the turbo one. This one's a little bit taller, but you can see what I mean is that they're definitely different. This one kind of has some muscly weirdness, and this one you did use the same leg thing. It kind of becomes stuck though, but you can see what I mean about how it kind of reminds me of them being like a bulkier chest with a tiny head. But I wanted to show those comparisons to start. But it's just a very odd looking figure, because it's like trying to be retro, but they wanted to change it at the same time. Like, I don't like the head sculpt on this. I think it looks weird. I think the paint colors look good, and you know, it's kind of got a sticker quality to the morpher, but I guess it looks good. You change it just like the Zeo ones, and you can, unlike the old school ones, you can go back and forth. And you have the Jason head here, which, again, I'll put up a little side comparison if I can find a good picture, which they tried to update it a little bit, but they all kind of ended up looking cartoony. Like, this kind of looks like royalty-free cartoon Jason, which is just kind of strange. Now, as far as accessories goes, they each come with one of these, which are almost exactly the same type as you got with the original ones, which was just these white plastic molded ones. And then you have the power sword, which also, it's not the exact same, but it's like the exact same style where it's gray plastic molded. The main difference is the original one had a little hole on the handle, because that's how you put it in the hands. They had those sort of old school, wait, I can show you, those old school ones here like that where you put the little peg through it, but these just hold them normal. And so articulation wise, you can go in and out here, you have the swiveling, you have an elbow joint here. Both the elbow joints on these and the knee joints are really stiff, so be careful with them. They feel really stiff, but you got the swiveling here. Like I mentioned, you can move out around here, so you got much more articulation, but it's very awkward. I'm not sure why. I'm sure there's some sort of toy science reason, but I'm not sure why they can't have you be able to turn the head more and do the flippable gimmick, because it's awkward to have like this Frankenstein creature doing major articulation poses, but he's so stiff from the waist up. It's just really strange. But now let's go over some of the other ones. So now we have Blue right here, and this is the only other one that I have a physical comparison for. For whatever reason, I cannot find my original Automorphin figures, but here's the comparison here, so you can sort of see a more general look of what they look like. Bulkier, these included the coins on them. This is one of the few open ones I have where the coin isn't ripped off. The helmet sculpt actually does look better on this one, and I'll give it to that for this. Oh, almost forgot you couldn't do that. But let's flip him back. So the differences here also come from the head sculpt, whereas this one is more based off of the Billy we know, and this one was kind of more based off of Pilot Billy from The Lost Pilot, so you can see that difference. But again, he looks strangely cartoony in a way. It almost looks more like Comics Billy. But the head sculpt's not too bad. There is some paint mistake nicks up there. Same articulation, I just have the weapon here holstered. This one I think is actually one of the better looking ones, but it really stands out how tiny his head is on this one as well. And he does include the power lances, and you can combine them just like the old one. It's a little bit bulkier. If I recall, the old one was a little bit thinner here on there, so you can have some bending happening. And if I recall, the old ones like snap together like this too, so that's a little bit of a difference. That might have been yellows though, but if I recall, I think that's the way it was. Now you have mmpr black, and again, I'll leave this open for me to find a comparison picture. I don't know why I have a hard time finding these, but this one's okay. I think the helmet's kind of somewhere in the middle. I think Red's looks the least accurate. It's like a little bit pumped up, and this one I think is a little bit pumped up and strange looking, but it doesn't look too bad. But kind of all the same points I had about the other ones. It looks weird, weirdly proportioned, but the general colors of the black and white look good. The details on the Morpher look good. And then you have the flipping here where Zach looks a little strange too. I guess I think they tried to update them, but I think the old one looked better. Like this one also looks cartoony, and it kind of looks like he's having an allergic reaction. Like his cheeks look too puffy. Like it's just, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know what they're going for with these guys. And he does come with his power axe, the only one of the bunch to not be a gray weapon, which looks fine. And the only thing I can really show is, you know, you can put this on there, but obviously once you get Kimberly and then probably eventually Trini, you'll be able to combine all of them, but you saw that on the back of the box. Overall, these are really weird releases. I'm not sure what they were going for. I've talked about in the past how I wanted them to do updated Automorphins, but like a true like 2021, 21st century one where it looks like a regular figure but their heads flip. And in this way it feels like it was designed in the 90s and went a step backwards. And I'm not sure if they wanted to update it or create a retro feel, and it ends up creating these weird Frankenstein monster creations where I'm not sure who these are for. Like I guess I could recommend them to people that are really nostalgic and just love the Automorphins so much, and people that like really like niche releases, but other than that I would sooner just recommend go getting the old Automorphin figures off eBay, because that's kind of a better play for nostalgia. And last I checked, they didn't go for too much. So I mean, not that those are amazing figures, but if you're going for the nostalgia, you might as well just get the old ones. These are just really weird releases that, again, I'm not entirely sure what they wanted to go for. I mean, I know what they wanted to go for, but why? And again, just to address it, it is weird that they went for 4 out of the 5 Rangers, but I'm going to presume that yellow will come with whatever a second wave is, whether that's just like a wave that will include like red, yellow, and green, and they just reprint red, or possibly, which I think would be smarter, doing like white, green, and yellow, but we'll have to see. But anyways, guys, that's about it for this one. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.